What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Legacy Spotlight, brought to you by Vicktory Life. I'm here with my guy, Mike Wyche. His story is simply amazing. This might be one of the most important guests we've had on the Legacy Spotlight, given everything he's had to overcome to get to where he's at now. You're going to hear some stuff about overcoming homelessness and poverty and violence, and yet he took all that and made it his legacy to help others. But before we get into how you overcome everything, Mike, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing awesome, man. I'm blessed, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to have you on the show. I really, like I just told the listeners and the viewers, I think this is going to be very insightful for so many people. We touched bases before we did and scheduled the Legacy Spotlight with you, and even just in brief conversations with you, I said, wow, I have to share this story. You have to share this story with others. I know there's been a few articles about you, and you've done some stuff this week with other people. What, Bleacher Report you mentioned?
Yeah. I'm working on some with them now. I did an interview with the Miami Herald.
Yeah.
So basically, letting Kane Nation know what I'm doing now, and because they haven't heard from me in a while. So
Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about that too, because I'm sure there's some people saying, "Wait a minute, did he just say the Hurricanes? He's not a Hokie. He's from VA to 7-5." We're gonna get into all of that today. And how you ended up being at Miami, man. But let's talk about it, man. Let's go back. Let's start off when you were growing up on the South Side.
Okay.
Like when I talk to other guests, everybody has a story. You talk to some people that say, I grew up with my mother and dad, or my stepdad, or my grandmother.
Yeah.
Your situation out the gate started rough. Your father was incarcerated. Let's talk about how your mom and dad met before you even were born.
Okay. Well, when before I was born, my mother and father, they met by my father running from the police, and he ended up running up in my mama's house, and she was shot when he burst through the door. He had a pistol in his hand, so she didn't know what was going on. He told her, he said, "Look, I'm running from the police." He said, "But look, I'm not here to harm you or anything. I'm just trying to get away right now. I know it sounds crazy, but if you cannot tell on me, I'll get out your way as soon as they pass through." And she agreed to it. And when he came out the back room, because the police knocked on the door, asked her if they seen anybody, in the hallways or anything like that. Have she seen anyone? And she was like, no, she ain't seen anyone. And after that, he came out the back room. He tried to pay her like $5,000. She wouldn't take it. And but she had a whole bunch of food from, her girlfriends bailing out on her because they supposed to have a girls' night. And so she had some food. She asked him, was he hungry? And he said he got 15 minutes. And the 15 minutes turned into all night of them having fun talking. And they was hanging out ever since after that.
Yeah. And they connected, and thank God they did connect, even though that was a crazy way. Everybody
Right.
means differently. They gave birth to you.
Yeah.
So you're born. I mean, obviously nobody remembers their birth, but go back to as far as you remember, because when I say out the gate, you were born and immediately you faced trauma and challenges. Talk about your childhood and what you remember of your father and your mother, and what proceeded to happen after you were born and you began to see issues occurring in your neighborhood and in your family.
Okay, well, when my mother and father, they was dating, well, they weren't really officially a couple, but they was messing around, and she later found out his real age. He had lied to her about his age. He ended up being 16 years old, and she was 34.
Mm.
So she had no clue. She knew he had a little baby face, but I mean, what he was doing, around the area, he didn't have kid symptoms. So yeah, she found out, and she immediately, flew. She got on, and when she got on, she later found out that she was pregnant.
Mm.
She later found out she was pregnant, and my father, he ended up finding out because he seen my grandmother in the store, and he said hey to her, and she was like, "You need to go see your son." And he said, "What son?" And she said, "Here's the address. Go see your son." That's all I'm gonna say. And he went to the address and came in the door unannounced again. I think he got a breaking and entering problem. Came in the house unannounced again, and he took me, packed my clothes. She didn't say a word. He took me to meet my grandparents, and after that, he was later on down the line. He was later on sentenced to 40 years in prison for murder.
Mm.
He was one of the biggest drug dealers to come out of North Carolina, so he had a lot going on.
So like let's keep it 100. He was a big time hustler, like on the level of what you see like in the movies, American Gangster,
Yeah,
and Rayful Edmonds and some of the more notorious drug men
right.
in the history of the United States. Like he was big time.
He was big time, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah. And do you remember that? I mean, do you remember like seeing the news, and or you just remember your family telling you, or you just kind of were just a kid?
Man, I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't remember nothing, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 years old. It's all stories, man. And I was in the visiting room with him, and he ended up telling me everything. Once I got like old enough to, process it, which I was like around, I want to say I was in college when he really, really broke it down to me like uncut raw. Like, yeah, that's what I was doing.
Mhm.
I deserve to be in here.
Wow. He took
Yeah,
ownership.
yeah, he did.
Oh, okay. I say
Yeah.
that because, a lot of guys in the system are still blaming the judge and the white man or the streets or music or
Nah.
homelessness. He took ownership.
Well, when you come from that lifestyle, when you decide to get in that lifestyle, you got to know the repercussions with it. Don't go ratting and telling on everybody else. I mean, you know what you was getting into before you got into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So take what come with it. And a lot
Well,
of people scared now to take what come with it.
yeah, well, there's a guy being glorified. I ain't gonna say his name. I call him a sugar thug, a rapper who just got out, who is
Oh, yeah, I
glorifying
think.
it. Yeah, I tell people all the time, yeah, even my son and daughter, that those kind of guys. This is a different generation, different era.
They are big on telling on people now, and also they are big on using drugs. When I was growing up, the music was about getting money, selling drugs. I'm just
Hmm.
keeping it real.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your father goes to prison. You eventually see him later. He opens up to you, but back to your childhood. He
Mm-hmm.
gets detained. He gets locked up. Now you're with who, and who you staying with, and who's raising you now?
I'm with my mother. I'm with my mother for a short stint of time. We started. He didn't want to give her anything, or nothing like that, because he discovered that she had a drug problem, a drug addiction problem. So he didn't want to, give her no money or anything like that, because he told me, honestly, he was like, I believe if I would have gave your mama any type of money, she would have been dead before she even passed away. So the the time that she did pass away, she probably would have passed away way before that time, because when you give somebody money don't really do nothing but expose who you really are, and
Mm-hmm.
it and help you with the habit that you already got if you ain't got it taken care of. So we ended up, everything was going fine at first, and she met this guy that she eventually married, and I seen him abuse my mama. I seen him hit my mama. I seen him cut my mama.
Cut.
And yeah, with a razor. I seen him cut my mama. I seen him do all these, these crazy things to my mama. And, I would try to fight him, but, I was a little guy. He'd just, swat me out the way like a little fly and continue fighting my mama. you know, but I get back up and try it again. And I used to always tell myself, you know, when I get older, I'm gonna kill him. You know, I'm gonna definitely kill him. You know, and I wanted to get bigger, stronger, faster. So, you know, I seen the OGs in the hood doing push-ups and all that, pull-ups and all that. So I was trying. It was tough, but I got stronger, faster, and I became a product of the streets, and at a young age, because my mother was always gone. She wouldn't come back to 7 in the morning, so I'm outside running around looking for her with no shoes on, you know, just trying to figure out where my mama was at, man, because I wanted to protect my mama because I knew that, you know, she had a problem, and I just love my mama, man. That's mother and son love, you
No
know. But
question.
I knew she was I knew she needed help, you know. But I ended up becoming a product to the streets, man, and I learned early how to sell guns, how to sell drugs. I mean, and how to shoot guns, and 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 eventually we ended up homeless. She lost the crib. Uh, she lost the crib. We ended up homeless in shelters, sleeping in parks, you know, and eventually we ended up sleeping. This family, they allowed us to sleep on their couch. And she got up in the middle of the night and she told me she loved me. And she said, Mike, I'll be right back. And never came back.
Wow.
Never came back.
So hold on. So your mom never came back. She left.
Nope.
How old were you when this happened?
I was about 8. I was about 8 or 9 years old.
You're 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
You're seeing your mom as you grow up get beat.
Yeah.
Get beat religiously, cut,
Yeah.
abused emotionally and physically. And you growing up, you know, we didn't mention this, but you're growing up in South Norfolk.
South Norfolk. Yeah.
So you seeing your mother get beat up, you seeing trauma in the streets, because it's not like you living in Beverly Hills. You know,
Oh no.
you, you're seeing crime, poverty, and hood life around you, and then you become a part of it. You become a part of that culture,
Right.
because you just, and it's not like you're glorifying it. You're trying to survive.
Trying to survive.
Yeah.
You know, trying to eat, trying to find any way to make it by. You know, it sucks not knowing what you're gonna eat the next day or drink the next day. You know, it sucked, and I didn't want to live that lifestyle anymore. You know, so one of my friends, when she left me, one of my good friends, his mother ended up taking custody of me, and from there, I began to, you know, when she took custody, I was already a monster.
Hold on. So when you say monster, you know, we're not talking about Oscar the Grouch or one of these Sesame Street characters. When you say a monster, clarify. Does that mean on site, I don't care about you or your life, I'm gonna do what I need to do, or if you get me upset, I'll hurt you? Like, I just say that because everyone that's gonna watch this and everyone that hears that, they may say, "Oh, he's a monster. He's mean. He took my pen." You talking
No,
about?
I was on site. If I needed to survive, you was a victim that day.
Hmm.
Or if you made me angry, it is what it is. Anything goes. Yes,
Mhm.
Lord. You know, so so it was both. And when like I said, she took custody of me, uh, you know, we was still in South Norfolk. So uh I knew the streets real well, and I started hanging out with the older guys, and that's when they started to really teach me how to, you know, I learned how to sell weed first. Uh, Weed was a big thing back then. You know, now it's getting legalized all over the place. Weed was a big thing back then, and I started off with $100, and from there I elevated to selling pounds, and the pounds back then was going for 17.5, 18.5 a piece. You know, so when I elevated to that, it was over, man. We started robbing, we started shooting, we started doing everything we had to do to get it, and it was fun. It was fun at the time because I thought that was the norm. You know, I
And
thought that's
And you shooting, you involved in shootouts and robberies, and you hustling hard. How old are you around this time? How old are you?
Man, I'm like 12 years old.
And you being raised by the streets and friends. You're
Right,
not with an aunt. You're not with a relative.
right.
You being raised by just older gentlemen.
I mean, outside on the porch with all the OGs. I mean, I remember a time a car pulled up and we out Harvard Apartments. I'll never forget it. And car pull up, dude get out the car. We all on the porch. He aimed the gun at one dude, pow pow, right in the head.
Mm.
And I mean, like it was normal. It was like, dang, this what went on. And I'm saying this at 12 years old. So you become numb to those things, you know. You become real numb to those things. And it's like, oh, if he dies, he dies. That's the mentality.
Yeah, no doubt. And I just hear you say that, and I'm just thinking about young kids who have a different path. And I'm just thinking about at the same time in comparison, you out here, I've talked to you now for a few weeks and we've had kinds of conversations. You at no means right now are glorifying it. You are
No.
more so just reflecting on your childhood and what you saw and what you had to do. Because it's not like you had gift cards and a bed, or
Nah,
you didn't have a chauffeur, or even someone that was going to provide for your needs. You had to go out and get it by any
I
means.
had to go out and get it. I had to go out and get it, man. And it was, like I said, we didn't have nobody to look up to. It was more, we didn't have no doctors and lawyers and basketball players to look up to. It was the kingpins that we wanted to be like. It was the guys selling the drugs. It was the guys giving us $1 to go to the ice cream truck. You know what I'm saying? Those were our superheroes.
Yeah.
Those are who we glorified. We ain't
Yeah.
glorified Michael Jordan. If anything, Allen Iverson was our hero.
I'm gonna stop you right there. It's funny because I had a conversation. I've had conversations here recently on Twitter. I've had conversation over the years with friends of mine and older people, especially. And I said the same thing you said, that as much as I grew to appreciate Jordan, I grew up playing with and against Iverson, so I know exactly what you mean. It was more so about who was attainable. Jordan, if you didn't have the home life like him, like the Cosbys, you were not going to look
Mm-hmm.
at MJ as something attainable. You looked and
Nah,
you related to more people like Iverson
right,
or Michael Evans because they
right,
were from the same neighborhood and they had that edge to them. And you knew
right,
his path and the street life he, came from.
right,
Yeah.
right,
So, Mike, I can't help but to think, one of my favorite movies, which is based on a true story, is Michael Orr.
right,
And they called him Big Mike. And similar situation. He didn't go down the same path as you as far as hustling, but he did not know where his mom was. His family got split up. His dad was out in the streets. He didn't really know much about him, and the OGs were looking after him, and he was just going from place to place. Have you ever seen that movie? Could you relate to Big Mike? Michael?
man. It's man, that movie brought back so many memories, and it's crazy because when we get later on down the line, me and him ended up almost with the same coach.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well. Speaking of that, with coaching in football, um, when did you get to Oscar Smith? I mean, let's bridge that gap because I'm sure somebody who may know of you or watching this for the first time is like, man, Vic is interviewing this guy Mike, and it says football player and NFL. How in the world does this guy get to those levels of professional football in college, the Hurricanes? What happened to bridge that gap? Did you say while you out here doing the thing, you running streets, you involved in shootouts? How did you get to wearing a helmet and playing for a great program in Oscar Smith? Because I think you mentioned to me when we talked in preparation for this interview, you mentioned that you were involved in a shootout one time where you almost got killed. You got a bullet grazed against your head.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
right there.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So how did you get, because you could have died. So how did you get to, okay, I'm out here making this money and I'm eating very well off these streets. How do I get to playing football?
Okay, so First of all, before I got to Oscar Smith, I was at something called CSEP. I was at CSEP. They had placed me in a school because after I left middle school, I won a city championship there. That was the first time I played football. And I didn't know how to act in practice. I didn't know how to act in school, I meant. And so I ended up getting sent to alternative school. The principal that actually sent me to alternative school, he ended up killing his wife. It was crazy. I read that in the newspaper. Yeah, Dr. Wesley Ernest.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, so I'm like, wow. Like, so I'm reading this in the paper right before it's time for me to transfer out of CSEP. So I get out of CSEP. I read in the paper about Oscar Smith football and all that. And I'm like, dang, that's the school I'll be going to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I met a guy in CSEP. His name was Alexander. Alexander, he the first one who, had great conversation with me, showed me how much he cared about me and stuff like that. And he said, man, we used to run full court and all that. He's like, man, you got some crazy athletic ability for a big guy, man. You need to try football or something, bro. And I'm like, I might get a shot, man. When I go back to regular school, man, try to, switch some things up and all that. He was like, man, but you got to get out of the streets, Mike. I'm like, yeah. But in my mind, I'm like, I can't, So I end up getting out of alternative school, going back to Oscar Smith. I get to Oscar Smith. I meet my teacher. Her name is Miss Donna. She's my case manager because I was in special ed because I later found out that I couldn't read, not that good, because at CSEP, they do the best they can trying to teach education, but it's more behavior than anything. So it's behavior first and education second because, that school wild. I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. So
hold on, when you say wild, I know, but it's what, like, wild where there's no structure, people like throwing chairs at teachers. It's whatever.
Throwing chairs, throwing milk trays at teachers, calling them all types of names except their real name.
Yeah.
Man, it's just bad. It's pure mental health in there, man.
Mental health issues.
Right. To the max, 100. So it was a crazy thing to see. And they got a place in there called the quiet area. You get out of control, you get put in the quiet area. They got to restrain you and put you in the quiet area. And the quiet area, they call it the quiet area, but it's a jail cell. It look like a jail cell. Like they can lock you in there, like you can't get out. So after I got to Oscar Smith, met my teacher. We learned that I was borderline illiterate. And in her class, I met a guy. And I was like, man, that's JT. JT was a guy out in the hood that played for Oscar Smith. He was one of our hood heroes. He went and played at Oscar Smith High School. It was him and a guy by the name of Greg Boone that played at Virginia Tech.
Greg Boone, my guy.
Those were the sport guys out our neighborhood. But, they grew up from street families, you know what I'm saying? So if they was to make it, out our neighborhood, we would look up to them, but we were so close in age, so we still ain't. We was like, are they just playing to have fun? They ain't. Man, they gonna be trapping in a little bit. We good. So Greg Boone became a big time guy in our neighborhood, and so did JT. But JT ended up being a teacher at Oscar Smith. He was a TA, and he was in my class. And when I seen him, now JT was off the chain out the hood. So to see him in a teaching position, it kind of did something to me. Like, I was like, you a teacher now? He was like, yeah, And now he's a pastor.
Wow.
This was a street dude, man.
Yeah. And I think that's what can make, just like your story and his and so many people, the transformation that can take place once you find peace of mind.
Right.
Once you find peace of mind and you find purpose, you can be very powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, peace of mind, purpose, and then power. I mean, not power where you're trying to run things and authority over others. Power where you can inspire others. And I think
Right.
that's what you're talking about with him, and eventually what happened with you.
Right. He showed me, he kind of showed me a different way. He started teaching me like big words, like things that we wouldn't use out the hood,
Mm-hmm.
to increase my vocabulary. And she was helping me read, and both of them two teamed up, and I ended up making honor roll in Oscar Smith. Moving on to the football thing, so I go into the office to meet the football coach, and his name Richard Morgan.
Coach Morgan.
Yes, sir. Hard nosed. He was like a high school Nick Saban almost. Hard nosed. He didn't care who you was. If you weren't with the system, you was gone. So it was some structure that I definitely needed in my life. So I went in his office, and he mentioned that the first time that usually he get transfer papers, but I was handing him my release papers from from court,
probation.
Yeah, probation. From probation to the CSEP papers, all of that. So it was kind of interesting for me.
I gotta think. I know of Coach Morgan. I've seen him build Oscar Smith into one of the best programs in the history of Virginia high school sports.
Right.
I gotta think in all the dynamic players he's coached, from Philip Sims and
Oh yeah,
J.C. Coleman. He probably looked at you and was thinking to himself, man, what is really going on here? This is probably going to be one of the most unique players. I'm sure he saw your size and was thinking,
right.
but then at the same time, in respect to him and his coaching staff and Oscar Smith, which is a great school, he had to be thinking, I'm taking a risk here, just even engaging in the conversation with you.
A big risk. And so he got with a lot of the players. One of my best friends, Gerard Askew, out the hood, he was playing. He became a big time recruit. He ended up going to Tennessee. You had Evan Hales on the team, big time lineman. He ended up going to Penn State, and basically, he was telling those guys like, Mike's a good player, but a very talented football player, very raw, but he beats to a different drum. So we're gonna have to get some of you guys to keep him in control. You know what I'm saying? Like
this is very reminiscent of when Jordan and Scotty sat down with Phil when they brought Robin on.
Right.
Yeah.
I was the Dennis Rodman of the Oscar Smith football team. Like I was the one that they had to stop from fighting all the time. Like if somebody did something to me in a football game, take a cheap shot, I was gonna go after them. You know what I'm saying? So they had to. It was just like that. It was crazy. It's just like Dennis Rodman. I was the Dennis Rodman of the team, man. And but once I learned my role, and once I perfected my role, it was a beautiful thing to see at Oscar Smith, man. And we had so much fun. I was hanging out with Philip Sims. Philip Sims was my quarterback. Man, we had so many players on that team, man, and it was like a brotherhood that I never had. That became family to me, along with my street family. So it was a great time to be alive. I was playing football, I was winning, and I was also winning in business too. Selling drugs.
Hold on, and this is crazy to me because very similar to Aaron Hernandez, and I'm not trying to glorify Aaron Hernandez
right
prime life nor yours. However,
right.
It's pretty remarkable that in a lot of ways you are at Oscar Smith with one of the best teams, not just in the state that year, but that eventually was one of the best teams in the country. That
right.
program during that era, and
Right.
you're out here still hustling.
I'm the man.
And let me ask you this: at this time, this is 2000, 2008, right? 2007, 2008, and this is back, when Jeezy's going, the streets is really T.I. This is when trap music and then the lifestyle became even bigger.
It became bigger.
We go from Jay and Nas and Wu and Mobb Deep to this era where selling and hustling is not just glorified, but it becomes a way of life and culture. And it's a real life for you because you're living it. But let me ask
Right.
you this before you talk about, the team and what y'all won at Oscar Smith. At this time, where's your mom? How she's doing? Did you ever reconnect with her? Your dad's serving time, but what's going on with your mom right now?
My mother, I end up reconnecting back with her at that time. Right after we won the state championship, I invited her to the ring ceremony. And she rode in there in a wheelchair. They rode her in there with a wheelchair. Found out she was paralyzed from the neck down from having strokes. She had 4 strokes back to back that should have killed her, And the reason that she had 4 strokes was because the doctor warned her to stop using drugs or it was gonna cause a stroke. And she kept going because she had a problem, and it ended up real bad. So when I invited her, Coach Morgan, the one who told me, he said, "Hey, Mike, you should invite your mama to the ring ceremony because you don't have nobody to come to, the ring ceremony. Invite your mom, man." And I reached out to them because my sister hit me up saying, "Hey, mom, good now. She back home," but she never told me that my mom was paralyzed. And and when they rolled her in there in the wheelchair, and I'm looking like, what the hell? I'm just lost, man. I'm a lost guy at this moment. At this point, I'm like, wow, So we started talking, and I wanted to ask her, like why you leave me? That I started getting angry out of nowhere during the ceremony. Like, why did you leave me? Like, I want to know that. We got to talk about this. Like, what happened? She could never explain to me what happened.
Yeah, and it had to be hard because you're now balancing street life and your social life and academics, playing for Coach Morgan, and y'all are on pace to win the state championship. Yet in the back of the mind, excuse me, you're probably still thinking, even as you're playing, as you're practicing, you almost got killed, shootouts, you've seen crime, you've seen. How in the world were you able not to lose it during games, during practices, especially since you played with an edge and what you saw? Were there moments during the day, during night in class, during games, even that you kind of reflected on that or kind of lost sight or struggled to balance that?
Yeah, I would struggle. I would have a lot of I had a lot of mental health issues, but I didn't really know what it was at the time. Because like what made me special on the field was I was very, very aggressive. I was very aggressive. I played fast, physical, and pissed off. And before the snap of the ball, it was like I would have flashbacks of this man beating my mama. I would have flashbacks. And before the ball hiked, I'm gone. This not even no lie. This is a true story. Like, and this happened. And that's how I was able to demolish the guard in front of me. Like every time. Like it was crazy. I think that's what made me unique. But the physical is only gonna be so effective for so long if you ain't got the mental and the social right. It's only a matter of time before the mental. It's only a matter of time for the physical breakdown. And we see that a lot with AB. We see that a lot with a lot of NFL players.
Aaron
Not because,
Hernandez, AB, a lot of yeah. I mean, you're right.
Not because they bad people.
No.
They just got a lot going on up here. You don't know what's going on in their personal life. Yeah.
So but you still able to balance it, and you're playing at Oscar Smith. You mentioned some really good players, some really, really good players, some dogs, as we say in sports. What I remember is I played at Hampton High, and for decades we were that program. And then when Coach Morgan came on in Oscar Smith, he took that legacy that Hampton High had, and he brought that new age swag. What I remember is when I seen you guys come up, your entrance into the stadium.
Oh yeah.
And then the fact that y'all are now, Oscar Smith, before he got there, they were homecoming games. They weren't the program. All of a sudden, you guys get there, and the legacy begins to change, where it's like, hey, this you getting ready to play some dogs. I mean, you had guys climbing the fence. There was the cage you guys were
Right.
Let's talk, man. How was the energy? Because you said life was good. It was great times. You know, what do you remember about those games, those battles? You know, the entrance.
Man, the entrance was scary for the other team. We knew we had the game won before we even went out there. You know,
Yeah.
it was you know, the team will be barking the whole week, and you know they gotta hype themselves up, but they know once we get in between them lines, they knew it would. And Coach Morgan like, he was so us. He was in the weight room, because we lift weight. Everybody thought we was taking stuff. That was the rumor.
That was the rumor.
We was taking stuff, but we had a weightlifting program
Mm-hmm.
we was on, and Coach Morgan designed it. And I mean, we go in there in the weight room. You got Biggie playing who shot you. Tupac. You got, and we like, yo, who playing this music? And Coach Morgan over there, like,
yeah,
you know, like, we like, yeah, like we got us a real one. So that made us want to play for him even more, you know what I'm saying? Because he was so us, man. And he made it so fun, man. And we was just blowing people out, man. We were blowing people. Man, every game looked like a homecoming game, man. We played this game on ESPN. That's when we started getting really nationally ranked. We played this game on ESPN against this team called Venice Beach High School.
Mm-hmm.
And they featured player is this guy named Trey Burton. He's actually the guy that threw the trick pass in the Super Bowl to Nick Foles
for the Eagles.
For the Eagles, yeah. And man, we ran his ass up out of there, man. we ran his ass up out of there, man.
I watched that game. I watched that game. You know, it's pretty cool, man, to be part of something like that. Given you were homeless prior to coming there,
right.
You were running the streets, shootouts, crime life, and trying to feed yourself. Did it give you? It sounds like it gave you a sense of commitment, connectedness, and it gave you a sense of family, right? It had to, right?
Coach Morgan was the first person I was ever scared of.
Really? Hold on.
It,
so you would, like, when you say scared of, because you know I know you now, and that's not something you just say you were scared of him.
Yeah, we was terrified of Coach Morgan because of the standard that he had, and man, he took our bodies through a lot, so we had respect for him. Like we had fun, but he was about, man, if you get in trouble, it's a man. You get in trouble, anything. That was the first daddy, like, I really like, oh man, if I get in trouble, like, we ain't get in school. As much stuff you heard that I did in the streets, you would think that I would be bad in school. Oh, nobody had no problems in school. Everybody was making honor roll. I mean, you got guys with dreads and goals in their mouth. Like, how these kids making honor roll, dog?
Yeah.
Like, he had everybody making honor roll. Like, he ain't accept nothing less. I need A's and B's, dog, so you can go to college. I'm like, what's college? You know, like, you know, after Smith football over, you know, so I'm back to the block. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about college. And then you know, I had, like I said, I had supporters, like the teachers in there. It was just so fun, man. And my best friend in the streets one night, he ended up going to answer the door. We was at his house. He went to answer the door. This was right after we played, I want to say Salem. He goes to answer the door. I'm at his house. I go upstairs to use the restroom, and all I heard is pow, pow, pow. And I'm like, damn. So I run out the bathroom. He on the floor dead. In his living room, like at the front door. The mama looked at the killer. I ain't get a chance to see him because I'm running down. I'm thinking it's just outside. You know what I'm saying? So it was normal to me, but I run downstairs and dude already had took off. I'm shooting at him down the street. but he had already took off.
Hold on, pause. Hold on, time out. You come out, and you in high school now, right?
I'm playing Smith football.
And you come out, and again, I'm just trying to take myself there visually, and you're coming, and you see it, and you react. That's one of your closest friends, and you already had the heat on you, the gun, and you buck back. You shooting in the streets at him.
Right.
Yeah.
Chasing him down the street.
Yeah. He got away.
He got away. Yeah, he got away. I couldn't really get him like I wanted to, because he had hit that corner and it was over. He was gone.
But you would have killed him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the fine line between what you saw growing up versus someone who may not have seen that kind of life. To not even, you didn't even hesitate.
Nope, didn't even hesitate. I go back and I see my friend dead on the ground, and he went to Oscar Smith too, and I just didn't. I ain't understand. I ain't understand what was going on, and my teacher, I get back, she was upset because she knew him, and she knew how close he was and what he meant to me. So we dedicated that whole season to him. We end up winning state, man. We ended up winning state for him, and I went on and had a nice run at Oscar Smith, and after that, it was time for college.
But before you talk about college, I want you as we talk about state, this how dominant you were, your program, and your team.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. That's when you guys beat Osborne. You played at Virginia Tech. Wasn't that in my old neck of the woods, Blacksburg and Lane Stadium? That
Absolutely.
Yeah, know it's funny. I'm telling you, I remember all of this because I'm older than you, and I try to keep up with everything going on back home, even on the South Side, even though I'm a Peninsula guy. And I'm working at Metz Middle School, which feeds into Osborne High School. And Manassas City, where Osborne is located at, they had a very good team, a great program that year. And I remember telling some of the teachers because they wouldn't drive up, and I was like, listen, y'all playing Philip Sims and them boys. They're going to spread y'all out, and, it's a problem. They
Air Force, baby. Air Force. You gotta believe it.
I am 757 guy. I've been living in Northern Virginia for a long time, so this is my second home now. And I support the local programs, and they had some great kids on that team, but I warned them. And then I remember watching it on the broadcast up here, and it was snowing, it was cold, and I just remember blinking, and you guys were up 20 points, and it was on.
Man, we was eating nachos at halftime. we was in the locker room like, man, it's a wrap. Because and we knew our state championship game was actually the game before we got to Osborne. Osborne they was trash.
Freely?
They was trash.
Yeah.
They was trash. That Oakton team that we had to face to get there, it was like 7-3 or something like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that was the state championship game.
Yeah, and it's like that a lot of times in high school sports. A lot of times the state semis or regional final, you can always say, well, the winner of this game is going to win the championship. And that Oakton team, I remember, was loaded as well.
They had a dude named Trey. I think his name was Trey Watts or something.
Yeah.
Trey Watts or something like that. He was a running back. He went to like Tulane or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this joker reminded me of Marion Barber. You remember Marion Barber that played with the Cowboys?
He ran real hard, had the dreads.
Oh my God, man!
Yeah.
He was killing us, dog.
Mom hostage. That's how Marion Barber played.
Yeah, he was killing us, bro.
Yeah. So y'all win that game and then y'all smash Osborne.
Yeah.
And you had to be thinking college, and you're looking around, you in Lane Stadium. At some point, you're thinking, you know what? Maybe in a few months I'm going to be here. Or at that time, who's recruiting you? You said you won't even think about college. You were just enjoying the lifestyle and culture at Oscar Smith.
Right.
Teams and coaches had to be coming to see you because since Coach Morgan's been there, you got yourself and Josh Sweat and Andrew Brown, Philip Sims, Stacey Coleman. The list goes on and on as far as names that come out of there. Your time's up. It's your time for you to get your look. So who's talking to you? Who's coming in to see you? And Where's your mindset at that time?
All right, so the first college coach that came to see me was Clemson. And then, you know, a lot of other colleges after that. ODU came. What's his name? Coach Cotton. Do you know who Coach Cotton is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Coach Cotton came through. A lot of these guys, they came through, and they wanted me. But I didn't have enough time to qualify to be able to go to college because of being a CSUP and all that. So
Credits.
yeah, and I ain't understand none of that stuff. All that stuff was a second language to me. Like I said, I was just enjoying Oscar Smith football, and I knew because Coach Morgan said it. He said, once y'all leave here, you'll never win like this again.
He's not lying.
He told us that, and I was like, cocky dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I'm thinking. Like, what makes you think that? But he was dead. So he said, you'll never have as much fun as you having right now, and you'll never win like this ever again. After you leave here, it's a business, son. It's a business. It's a business. It's a business. And I was like, I asked him, I was like, Coach, what you mean a business? He was like, if you go there and you don't perform, you gonna take a seat to the back. If you cause that college coach to have to make a decision on you because you're not performing, he gonna protect his job first.
For sure.
Because he got a family to feed.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't no because, he's my senior, none of that. You gone. Transfer, whatever, you gone. I'm like, dang, that's cutthroat. But that's real cutthroat. I'm like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I go through that in real life with the business that I got going on, you know?
Well, for sure. I mean, in the back of your mind, that didn't shake you. But you know what? In respect to Coach Morgan, I know exactly what he meant when I got to college. And I definitely know what he means now, because basically what he's saying to you guys is, it's not so much this is the best time of your life, but this is the purest part of football.
Right.
Because college and pro is straight business.
Right.
And you'll have moments of fun, but you won't have the life that you have right now.
Right.
Because it becomes more about accountability. What can you do for me and my program? And if you don't, I'm going to find somebody else. That's what he was saying.
So, just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that.
That's what he was saying.
And so when he was talking about college, I'm like, Coach, what's college, bro? Like, I was like, you can play football after this? Like, when you go to play football after this? He was like, yeah, man, you get to go to college. If you're good enough, they'll pay for your whole school. So basically, Mike, you basically, in exchange for your athletic ability, they'll give you a free education. I was like, yeah, that's business.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, yeah, so but now we at a point now, okay, your credits, you can't qualify like that. So I had one offer to go to Virginia State. And I was like, nah, that's too close to home. Like, if I go to college, I want to go experience something, you know? So
and
he was like, what?
Give me your lifestyle, Petersburg and Richmond, you know, it's a lot going on there too.
Yeah, so I was like, well, dang, Coach Morgan was like, I don't want you to go there anyway because I believe you're a Division I player. I was like, okay, so where I'm going? He was like, I made a phone call. You go to this school in California. I said, California? I'm not going to no California, bro. What's wrong with you? Like, man, I'm from Virginia. You want me to go way across the United States of America? I'm like, nah, bro, I got a business to run. I can't do that. He was like, what business? I was like, nothing, you know, but I was like, man, I can't. I was like, I can't go across there. Like, Mike, just try it, man. If you don't like it, I'll book you a flight back home. I was like, all right, cool. So I packed my stuff. Told my fellas, I'm like, look, I'm going out to Cali, but y'all can come out there with me. I'm gonna book y'all a flight out there once I get settled out there. You hear me? I'm gonna get back to work like that. So I get out to Cali. I meet this chick, you know, and she's cool. She's She works at the weed dispensaries. That's how it happened. And I was getting them for cheap. And I'm like, yeah. So I started, all it takes is introduce me to one person, and it's going to grow from there. So I went out there because I had to keep the income coming in because I didn't want to go back to South Norfolk. I didn't have nothing to go back to, so I knew I was on my own. I knew I was on my own. So went out there, got settled in. I had to sleep in a locker room because I didn't have nowhere to go. Yeah, I had to sleep in the locker room, man. When I first got out there, I won't spend no money on no apartment anyway. Cause when I got out there, cause they told me, like, I'm thinking like you got scholarship. That was coach told me. But little did I know, going to JUCO, you got to pay to eat. You got to pay to do everything.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. You see Last Chance U and you think, oh yeah, it's not like that at most JUCOs. At most JUCOs, if not all of them, you are really there playing ball and you kind of figure it out and you taking care of yourself.
Right. Yeah. See, some of the JUCOs, you can go there. They got scholarships for you, like Arizona Western, Mississippi Gulf, the ones you talking about.
Yeah.
Butler.
Yeah.
But when you at California Junior College Association, yeah, you got to pay for everything. You got to pay for apartment, all of that. And I didn't know that. And I was like, nah. So my coach was like, I always played. I was a plain Jane always. I won't never a cocky guy when it came to money. So I always stayed humble, So I told him, I was like, man, look, I ain't got no money for that, dog. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, look, you can sleep in the locker room. I was like, fine with me. Shower over there, sleep in the locker room. I can eat on campus. I'm good to go. So after eventually, my father called home and he was like, hey, Mike, I want to introduce you to somebody. I was like, who? He was like, yeah, I know you out there in California, a good friend of mine. And I was like, all right. He was like, his name Rick. I was like, okay. So Freeway Ricky Ross was his real name. He's the drug king. Come to find out, he was a drug kingpin, former drug kingpin that the rapper took his name.
I was getting ready to say, you said that, and I looked. I was like, wait a minute, hold on, man. I know I'm hearing this right.
Right.
I know Rick Ross and a lot of these rappers do that, but he was the real Rick Ross.
The real Rick Ross.
Because I've heard stories, but again, I ain't in that life. I hear stuff. We at the barbershop, and you just don't know if somebody is swelling or not. You like whatever. But
yeah. So my pop's like, yo, Rick gonna take care of you. He gonna make sure you got food. He gonna make sure you got everything. I'm like, I bet. I was like, where you know him from, Pop? Like, he was like, don't worry about all that, man. Just Rick gonna take care of you. Now Rick is a motivational speaker and an entrepreneur. He's no longer in the drug dealing and gun violence. And I was so excited to meet him because, I wanted to learn about, like, hey, this, like, my daddy really got connections like this. Like, this man made $3 million a day selling crack. Not 300,000, not 3 million a year, 3 million a day. This when he was bumping in the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, well, the 80s, it was, the 80s and the early 90s, it was unbelievable. But on the dark side of it, man, and you and I have talked about this, and I know you've talked about this when you go around speaking, the consequences of the family's loss to that stuff was sad.
It was bad, man. It was bad.
The 80s destroyed communities and neighborhoods that still have not recovered, and we're in 2020.
Especially the African American community.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I met him and he was telling me, hey, look, man, if you need anything, I know your pops, like, just let me know what you need and I'll look out for you. I'll come get you. He said, if you want to stay with me, you can. I was like, I ain't really trying to go to Long Beach because I got to be here. Driving from Long Beach to LA every day, that's going to be a hassle. So I just stay over here. So he would come get me on the weekends and I just hang out with him. We go hang out with Bishop Don Juan, Rapping Forte. Like, these are guys that I don't know about. I just met them. So I didn't know who Rapping Forte was,
This is
Is
crazy.
that the guy that saying I got 5 on it?
I don't. I know his name. I think that's him. But again, I'm not.
Yeah, you on a West Coast guy.
Yeah. The only person I knew out there was Pac, Snoop Dogg, Dre, and Exhibit, and like
Met all of them. Met all of them because of him.
Wow.
So
I know Bishop Don Juan. I know him. Yeah. I mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to take me out to the clubs with them, and it was just off the chain. So I get so football season kick off, and man, I get bigger, faster, stronger, and man, I'm ready to play the season. I get another phone call. My teacher that was like a mother figure to me, one of my teachers was like a mother figure to me, Miss Phillips. She ended up hanging herself and committing suicide. So one of my other teachers called me and tell me about it. So that's another person lost in my life. And then the week after that, I get a phone call right before the season starts. My mother passed away.
Oh man.
So this happened like a week apart. So I go back home for the funerals, and man, I'm all messed up, man. Me and my mother, we had a great relationship going, you know, and I get back to California after the funerals, and I just take off, man. I become a JUCO All-American, and I take off, and I got every college in America knocking at the door. I mean, we got Freeway Ricky Ross on the sideline, Dre coming out there.
Who? Wait, who you say? Dre?
Dre, Snoop, all of them out there watching the games on the sideline because everybody trying to figure out who this number one JUCO player in the nation about to go to USC because I was committed to USC. I ended up committing to USC, and the coach that gave me a scholarship was Michael Orr head coach Ed Orgeron.
Oh man. So, but he didn't stay there long though, right?
He didn't stay there long because Lane Kiffin was the head coach. Lane Kiffin ended up getting fired. They fired him on the plane after the game, and and I was like, wow, man, they didn't get a chance to get back in the building to fire this man. They fired him on the plane. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. And that's when I knew. I was like, man, this is really a business, man. They just fired this man on an airplane, bro. Like on the way back from the game. They ain't getting no meeting and talk to him. They just like, you gotta go, cuz.
Oh, Mike, hold on, man. Hold on. So, no, you're right. So you're at USC. I mean, you're at the JUCO. You become the number one. You said number one player.
Yeah, I was the number one defensive tackle, JUCO defensive
That's
tackle
what
in
I
the
thought.
nation. Yeah,
You were the tackle. So you were committed to USC.
right.
Yeah. And at that time, what happened in regards to why you didn't end up at USC?
Well, they fired Lane Kiffin, and
Lane
then
Kiffin?
they gave the interim job to Coach O, which I thought they were gonna keep him and make him the head coach, but they decided to go in another direction. So Coach O, that kind of like did something to him. Like he was depressed about that, so he took some time off from football. And I'm like, damn, where Coach O gonna go? Because Coach O coached a lot of great defensive linemen like Cedric Ellis, Mike Williams, I believe his name was. No, Mike Patterson.
Patterson.
Yeah, Mike Patterson. He had Clay, all those guys, so it was like, man, this is the guy that I need to train me in order to, get to the next level. And he took some time off, so I had to figure out where else I was gonna go. So I ended up opening up my recruiting process again, and Miami came through the door. Pete Carrollson came through the door, and we talked, we kicked it. He was like, look, I want to go take some visits out. Take a visit to Miami. So I ended up taking a visit to Miami. And yeah.
Well, I already know how that went because
Yeah.
hold on. Before you talk about who hosted you, and when you went to Miami, because I know there's some stories about that you can share on this podcast, but maybe not everything. But you're a Virginia guy, and
Right.
Dabo had come to see you from Clemson, and you became one of the best players in the country. But you also from VA, and Greg Boone was having a very good career at Tech. Uh,
Right.
did my man, the legendary Bud Foster, hit you up when or did we stop? Well, we stopped recruiting JUCOs at that time.
Yeah. So when I had opened up my recruiting process again before Miami came through the door, I reached out to Virginia Tech. I was like, man, I really want to go to Tech. I knew some people that was very, very connected to Tech because of J.C. Coleman. That was one of my teammates. You had who else was up there? I reached out to Greg Boone, I believe, but I don't think Greg Boone knew nobody there for real like that no more.
Yeah, because they were going through coaching changes
and all that. So I was telling all those guys, my 757 connects, that I wanted to come home, and I would love to play for Tech to carry on that 757 legacy, man. And I finally got on the phone with Foster, and I was like, "Yo, man, I'm trying to come home. Like, I really want to come ball with y'all, And he was like, "I'm sorry, we don't recruit junior college players." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, we don't recruit junior college players." I was like, "All right, bet. I'll see you in the ACC. I'm going to kick y'all ass, too, just to let y'all know." So I said, yeah. That's what really fueled me to go to Miami, because I knew I was going to play against Virginia Tech. So I went to Miami, took the visit. When I'm at Miami on the visit, I had to go through, it felt like murder trial, because I had to sit in the AD office and, because of my violent past, and stuff like that. The AD was kind of concerned, so he really wanted to meet me one-on-one.
I find that funny, given the documentaries on the U, both part 1 and part 2, all the guys they've taken from South Florida, which is a lot like the 7-5 as far as what you have to go through to grow up. And then they want to interview you and hold a background check. And again, I respect that, because you got to be careful. And part of that's probably because of what happened prior to you coming there.
Right.
But it had to be fun too, being recruited by the U, even though, Miami, like a lot of programs, have been in transition, but they still carry weight as far as their legacy and their name. And you go from Oscar Smith was a phenomenal program, and then you went to, Cali, and you were hanging around, the real Rick Ross, Dre Smith, Bishop Don Juan. Now you at Miami, and you are meeting what Santana Moss, and who's hosting you, and
Willis McGahee, Santana Moss, Andre Johnson. I got a chance to hang out with all the Big Bryant McKinney. Man, that dude can have some fun, man. Big Bryant McKinney, Antrell Rowe, man, that whole 2001 Jimmy Graham. He ain't really do too much though. He more like a reserve type person. Yeah. But I got a chance to hang out with Jimmy. Just all these guys from that 2001, 2000 team that was just straight dominant, and they was just telling me the expectation, like, look, we need you to come here and dominate at this defensive tackle position that we've been lacking for so long. Like, they was like, yo, you the savior. They was calling me the next Warren Sapp, the next Vince Wilfork, all that. So I had a lot of pressure coming in there. I'm like, Lord, so it was fun. They took me out. We went places. We went places. We had fun. And I said, man, I commit, man. I'm here,
Yes.
So I ended up at Miami, and we went there, and I got there, and like I said, I had a business mindset. All right, follow me. I had a business mindset. Now, I knew all about the business of football, and at this time I'm 20-some years old, because I'm a junior college guy. So I'm in the stocks, you know, because I had friends that was in the stocks. I'm rolling. Ain't nothing you can tell me. Especially a guy that came from nothing. So I meet Al Golden. I meet Al Golden, and I ask him. I said, you know, what type of defense we running? That's the first thing I asked. Like, what type of defense? I mean, nice to meet you. How you doing? But what type of defense we running? And he said, you know, you're gonna be running the 4-3. You're gonna get off the ball. You're gonna get off the ball. You're gonna create havoc like you're gonna create a new line of scrimmage like you've been doing in junior college. And I'm like, all right, cool. Because I mean, I'm a junior college guy. I got 2 years to prove that I'm worthy enough to be a pick in the draft. So I ain't got time to be learning no new position all over again. I got to go with what I know. I can learn a new position in the league.
And around what year is this when you're there now? Because
2014.
2014. Okay.
So I'm like, man, I could. So I'm looking straight for what I was running in junior college to pick up where I left off. And they told me that. So we get to little camp thing that's about to go on, and you know, the little introduction. And we get to the introduction, and he tells the whole thing, like all the football players, hey, I told y'all what y'all wanted to hear to get y'all here. But now we're gonna do things my way. And I walk out the meeting. Because after they said what they were running, I walked out the meeting. And he was like, where is he going? I said, man. So we had a meeting afterwards because he wanted to talk to me about why did I walk out the meeting. And I said, man, listen, obviously y'all don't care about people. You know, obviously y'all care about yourselves. And I said, man, it should be a crime for y'all to lie to people like that. I said, usually people that lie to me, it don't end well. I said, man, Coach, look at this, man, and I'm not even being funny. Some people that's on your team right now ain't got nothing to go back to.
Very true.
Nothing. And if they don't make something shake here, they got to go back to the jungle, man. So why would you fix your mouth to say that in a meeting, man? I just kept it real with them. And sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, my bluntness got me in trouble, you know, and I'm cool with that.
But that's you.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. You know, I raised myself. That's me. You know, so I'm asking them, like, why would you fix your mouth to say that to somebody? Like, that showed me that you didn't care about me for real. That showed me that you didn't care about a lot of guys on this team for real. You cared about what you wanted to do. And you was going to turn us into what you wanted to turn us into. You know, after you done lied to us. So you admitted that you lied to us and then think everything's supposed to just roll smooth after that. So season go on, and I moved my girlfriend down there that I'm dating at the time. And this was one of the most darkest times in my life. I moved her down there, and you know, we began to have relationship issues. And I eventually break the news to her, like, look, I think that we should go our separate ways. I tried to sit down and have a honest talk with her.
Yeah.
I think we should go our separate ways. At this time, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I met a plug down there. I was getting cocaine and all of that, selling it to the people on the campus because, I mean, I'll go to an all-white school. I mean, everybody loves cocaine at the white school.
Especially where Miami, where cocaine really helped build the city. If you ever watch a documentary called Cocaine Cowboys,
right,
South Beach in Miami, looks, it's well known cocaine had a big establishment in building up the city.
Right. So at that time, you know.
So hold on, Mike. So once again, you didn't experience all the success on this field. You're getting an education. You're still balling, and you're playing at a high level, but you still can't let the streets go because the money's good. I mean, you're selling cocaine now, so you graduated to a big time substance, which brings in dough for real, for real.
Dough. I mean, we getting them, and at that time, you know, the boosters down there was kicking us off. You know, what they wanted to kick us off. You know, we was driving any car that we wanted. I mean, any car, Bentleys, Wraiths, anything. We had to hook up. It was, man, we was living like this millionaire lifestyle before we even touched $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like we had everything we wanted to have down there. I mean, boosters was. I felt like I was in the NFL already. What they was paying us.
Even in
so,
2014, 2015, whatever.
Man, it's the U, baby. Yes.
Well, you know what's funny about that? Because Michael Irvin said in the documentary about the U that they were getting in clubs as college players, and some of the pro players or entertainers would still had to wait outside.
What, man? In our city, in Miami, they don't care if you play for the New England Patriots. They don't care if you play for the Green Bay Packers. The Miami Hurricanes coming in there before anybody. Straight like that. You can have any drink you want. It's on us. You can go on any yacht you want. Everything free. Everything on me. Just try to bring us a championship home if you can. At least get a decent record. But we got you covered in the city. And it was like that. It was love from, like, top to bottom. It was love, man. And, I mean, everybody they see you out there. I mean, you got millionaires out there. They might see you in the mall. Hey, you such and such from the Hurricanes? Yeah, here come 5,000, man. Go have a great time. Thank you. Like, what? Like, yeah, like, it was crazy. So it was just money down there. Man, even a poor person could get rich down there, man. It was crazy. And the money that I was receiving, you know, I'm a hustler, so I stack like a squirrel stacking for the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
you're harvesting your money.
I never abused the money, so, you know, because I stack for wicked times because I'm so scared, you know, that, you know, like this coronavirus pandemic, when something happened, I could go in the stash, you know what I'm saying? So I knew that. And I knew I was in a cutthroat game, you know, as far as with, you know, not all coaches are like that. You find some genuine ones, but most of them for self, and that's for sure. You can't go there loving no coach. You got to go there for business, for education.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you selling coke, and you on campus, and you doing well. Your girlfriend and you are on the verge of breaking up because it's just not working out.
Yeah.
And what happens then?
So I tell her that, you know, hey, you know, we need to split apart, you know, because it's not working. So we split apart. I sent her back to Virginia, and she steals my credit card, and I need all the players that's listening to this, I need y'all to listen up, take notes, because it's gonna happen to you. Something like this is gonna happen to you if you're not careful. She takes my credit card, books a flight back, and I'm at practice. It's my birthday. Whip-de-doo. It's my birthday. So I come home, and the house is a mess. And I'm like, what in the world? So I'm thinking somebody just broke in my house. So I pull out my gun. I got guns in the closet. I got over 32 guns in the closet for my guys. So that she don't know about, but she's seen a lot of guns in there though. And so she had that over my head, you know. So she was like, she was back. I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I thought you were back in Virginia. She was, you know, she was like, I wanted to talk about our relationship. I'm looking at my house like, we can't talk about my relationship, especially not now. You know, so it became, you know, like I told her, look, you gotta go. Like I just, we can't do this no more. And she said, all right, don't even trip. So to get back at me, to be petty, she called the police and told them that I was threatening her with a firearm, and that you know, I got guns, I'm selling cocaine, all of that. She told all of that, man. And I had to fight a strong case, man. I had to fight a strong case, and you know, being that I had to go through a lot of court issues, I missed a lot of my senior season, man. And when I ended up getting off of it, thank God for cameras. I ended up getting off of the misdemeanor domestic violence, but I had to face a gun charge. And the gun charge, I was facing like 14 years. But this how corrupt America is. Money talk, bullshit walk 1,000 miles. So if you got money and you pay the lawyer, you can pay for this. You can really pay. All they doing is sitting in there having lunch with the judge. They already know what they're gonna give you before they give it to you.
I tell people all the time, they talk, they play golf together, they negotiate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So at that time, you know, they planning out what they gonna do. Cause I told them, you know, look, man, I gotta get off of this, man. You know what I'm saying? So I pay him. I said, look, you beat it, I pay you double. He did just that. I came out with a misdemeanor. And I had to do a month in jail, and I had to do 4 years of probation. So after that, Atlanta, and I started training.
Well, hold on. Before you start talking about training and getting ready for the NFL, I do got to ask, you know, for people, because I have a large following of different fan bases, but, you know, I'm part of Hokie Nation. How was it when you did get that chance to eat against Virginia Tech? Because you didn't mention that. I do want to ask you about that. Like, when you got a chance to go against Tech, it was on a Thursday night. I was at the game because I was working for 247 Sports Coverage, so I was in the booth. How did it feel playing against JC and those boys? A lot of guys from the 7-5, and you know, you being a VA boy, I'm sure you had a lot of requests for tickets. And I remember the outcome, unfortunately, for my squad, but for you, it had to be really sweet. And then y'all did something to my locker room. So talk about that.
So I'm already mad. I'm looking forward to this game, and we go to Blacksburg. And, man, as much as I hate Virginia Tech, y'all stadium is the best stadium I have ever stepped foot in. Man, that thing was electric in there.
It's a Sandman.
Oh, my God, the stadium was shaking. It was so crazy. We couldn't even hear on the field, dude. Like, it was like we had to do sign language because it was that damn loud in there. Like, you couldn't hear anything. So I'm mad in the locker room. I'm like, man, let's maul these guys, bro. I can't stand these dudes. I'm like, so I'm having battles in my head. The coach looking at me like, man, this dude crazy. I'm like, man, you ain't want to recruit me? Like, so I'm mad, man. So we go out there, and man, we run the table. Brad, my quarterback, Brad was like, yo, Big Mike, man, we gotta kill these guys. I don't know what they done did to him, but I'm riding with my dog. So Brad is Felicia off of Friday. That's his mama.
Yeah. No, I know you're talking about.
Yeah,
he was a tall, brown-skinned quarterback.
Man, yeah. Hey, look, Virginia Tech, I can't stand them. Virginia Tech got them little banner flyers in the stands, saying bye Felicia up there and all that.
Oh, people had this sign.
Oh, Brad hot, man. So
we have a good
we go out there and we run the table. We kick, man. We stomp a mud hole in them, man. And after the game, it was like, man, well, let's trash the locker room, man. Let's trash the locker room. So we started throwing chairs everywhere. This was after coach got on the bus.
I'm about to say, God, the coach. Yeah, no wonder in his post-game presser, or not presser, but, you know, in the newspaper the following week, he denied it and said, I don't know what happened. And there was a lot of back and forth. He didn't even know.
Nah, he was on the bus before we got up.
Yeah. Well, you know, man, Miami and Virginia Tech, man, I'm older than you, man. It goes back to the Big East days, man. Like, Miami, number one rivalry, and always has and always will be, is Florida State. But when the Big East formed and then both programs went to the ACC, it has been after Florida State, it's Miami and Virginia Tech. So you were part of that. You got to eat off that W. And I can only imagine the intensity you were showing and what you felt. And I remember that game because y'all, I mean, we put in all our quarterback. It was a humiliating loss. I remember that game.
We took out y'all first. The first quarterback was decent though. Brewer, Michael Brewer.
Yeah.
He was pretty decent. Yeah. But after we took him out the game, it was a wrap.
Yeah, I think we got down to Mark Leal. I mean, our third string quarterback. And it was crazy because it was a Thursday night game, which is normally what we pride ourselves in winning. And it was on national TV, ESPN, and you guys smoked this, man. I remember
that all maroon and that all white was crazy, man.
Yeah, man. That's the blessing and benefit of playing at a big time program. And then, you were part of that. And then, of course, I remember you guys were talking about, because my kids and my wife went to that game. I was in the booth in the press box. And my son kept talking about, all you guys kept saying, your fans was, it's about the U. It's all about the U.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, man. So you had a great win that night, and you had your struggles with criminal activity and charges and things like that from your old girl, but you still managed to have a decent career. Not what you wanted, but it was still solid. And now you're preparing for the league.
So I'm preparing for the league. So in order to prepare for the league, I went to Atlanta. So shut everything down. I had to go to jail. That's when I found God, man. I found God in jail. I met this guy named Bruce, and Bruce put me on this every Wednesday call with Tony Dungy. He had like this Bible study thing going, and that's when I really started to get into the Bible and stuff like that, and start taking the word serious. And it changed me, man. It changed me. It humbled me. I think jail was the best thing that ever happened to me, because if Mike Wyche don't go to jail, Mike Wyche don't find God. Mike Wyche keep doing what he doing, and Mike Wyche probably end up going to prison for 1,000 years, because I'm eventually gonna get caught with dope, because I mean it's only so long before the game ends, So I ended it right there, man. And I said I'm gonna try this football thing again. Started training in Atlanta. Got a phone call from Green Bay. I shot up to Green Bay. Go to camp. I'm killing in camp. They got me running with the ones. I'm killing in camp. And when I get there, all my teammates that they had on there for the U, Ladarius Gunner, Herb Waters, Sam Shields, he was around that.
He was good.
Yeah, Sam Shields was around the program a lot. The organization, because it's not a program anymore. Yeah, so the organization, and a couple other guys that saw my story and saw that, oh, dang, like he was innocent. Like even though he was doing, other things that he didn't have no business doing, but with that part, she lied on him. She ratted on him. She lied on him. So the players felt so bad for me, man. Man, they broke me. They broke bread with me when I got there. They gave me money when I got there.
They looked out.
They looked out big time, dog. And I love those guys. We still talk. We have a group chat. We still talk. When I went on the camp, my nephew was calling me, who I'm like a father figure to. I take care of him, prom, all of that, whole nine. You ask him who his dad is, he gonna say Uncle Mike is dad. He was a little bit younger than me. He was about 20 at the time. But I was just a father figure to him, man. We was just so close, man. When I come home on breaks at Miami, he hop in the car, we go on vacation or something like that. I was living like I was in the league. So, man, I get a phone call from his phone, and it's my sister crying when I answer the FaceTime call, and she was calling me to inform me that, my nephew had been shot in the face and killed. They was in the house, and one of the guys was in the house playing with a shotgun, and the shotgun went off and shot him and struck him in the face, man. And at that time, man, it was tough for me, man. The strong, violent individual was mentally breaking down now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, especially given all the deaths that you had seen and witnessed, the violence, your mother getting beat up, she died, and she was paralyzed, and you're now at the highest level, and you're killing it at Green Bay's camp. You're killing it. You're getting reps with the ones as an undrafted free agent, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then you get this FaceTime call, and it as strong as you were, and you seem to press on despite tragedy, it finally got to you.
Finally got to me.
Yeah.
Finally broke down, man. I finally broke down, and I broke down that practice. I went over to Winston Moss because I was crying, and Winston Moss went to the U. He was the linebacker coach.
I know. I know Winston. Yeah.
And Winston was like, "What's wrong with you, man?" I was like, "Man, my nephew that that I take care of, he just got shot and killed, and he just hugged me." And Coach McCarthy, he was on the other side of the field at the time, so I informed him after practice, and I pulled him to the side after practice, and I told him, as I was going through practice, my mind was taking me down memory lane, but I was killing it in practice.
I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you that is probably the most impressive thing about you, how you can play while experiencing trauma. Because again, I'm a licensed therapist, so I believe in the importance of taking care of mental health. And there's so many people who become polarized by their trauma or their anxiety or depression or whatever they're struggling with, rightfully so. And yet you're able to, at the highest level of competition, take it and channel it into aggression that's controlled aggression in practice.
Well, it was kind of like this, Dwight. You ever seen the movie Waterboy?
Oh yeah. When he's back and forth.
I know it's funny. I know it's funny. It was a joke, but that was trauma that he was experiencing, man.
Yep, it was.
It was the exact same way. It was like, wow, and you just go. It was the same way, man. And I ended up telling Coach McCarthy, I was like, man, thank you for everything. But whether y'all keep me or not, I'm done with football, man. I was like, I want to go back home, and I want to get my life coaching career started. I want to start my motivational speaking career, and I want to travel the world, changing and saving lives. I've been through so much in my life with drug dealing, gun violence, deaths, friends getting killed, losing family members, homelessness. He didn't know none of this. He was homelessness. I said, man, some of the things I brought on myself, I said, but I got so much that I can tell an individual, and impact their life that I really want to start now. It's not, I don't have no desire to play the sport anymore, and he said, well, if you go and do that, you're going to be the greatest Green Bay Packer to never play. And I thought about that, and I was like, yeah, you're right. And I took that and I ran with it. I'm Michael Wyche, the greatest Green Bay Packer to never play. I don't have a Michael Jordan story. I don't have a Kobe Bryant story. But anything that I do, I apply it to football, though. Football has so many similarities to everyday life, like sudden change, what we're going through right now in life, with the coronavirus pandemic. This is sudden change. When you're marching down the field, you get a first down, you get another first down, and then your quarterback throw an interception. That's sudden change. Mm-hmm. Adversity just happened. Now your defense got to play defense and try to get the ball back so y'all can win the game. This is sudden change, man. This is what we're going through. The things that I went through as far as drug dealing, trouble will take you farther than you want to go, and it'll keep you longer than you want to stay.
Yeah.
I was born looking like my parents, but I knew for a fact if I didn't slow down, if I didn't change my ways, I was gonna die looking like my decisions.
Mm.
It was gonna happen. You know, you could do anything you put your mind to. Anything you put your mind to. So that's what I did. And I was an entrepreneur. I knew God blessed me with two abilities, and that was adaptability and hustle. You could throw me under a bridge right now in a tent, and baby, I'm gonna run it back up, baby. I'm gonna run it back up. Hey Vic, I'm gonna run it back up, Vic. You can strip me. You can give me 100 million right now, and you can strip it from me, like they did Job in the Bible. You can strip it from me, put me in a trash can, give me 6 months, and see what happens. And I need everybody, and I want to coach everybody how to have that hustle. And they used to call me, you know, in the football world, Mike Savage, because my teammates would always say, man, he would go in savage mode in a certain point of the game and take over the game. And now I have a clothing line called Savage, and it's similar to a Superman-esque with the way it's shaped, but it stands for the health triangle: mental, physical, and social health. That's what it stands for. We need you to get your mental health right. We need you to get your physical health right. We need you to get your social health right. And we need you to get your financial health right. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I love my job now. Now I travel around the world and I impact lives. I mean, I've gotten letters from people telling me that I stopped them from committing suicide. I got letters from people telling me that I've saved their marriage, and I ain't even never been married before in my life.
Yeah.
I've gotten letters from people telling me that, you know, I just saved their lives in general, man. And the way I look at it, you know, as far as a coach, Phil Jackson and Bill Belichick ain't got nothing on me.
Mm.
I got championships. Every time a person send me a letter saying that I stopped them from committing suicide, that's another Super Bowl for me. That's how I'm winning championship. I'm an all-pro life coach. Yeah, I'm still winning in the game of football, and just in a different aspect. I'm
That's
an
awesome.
all-pro.
And that's beyond awesome, because I'm sure when people hear this, and I'm sure the people who've heard you speak, I know you did an event with my cousin Mike, and you have been speaking now for quite some time. To
Yeah.
walk away from the game, to go to prison, and genuinely, sincerely find a relationship with God, not something that's manufactured only because you're incarcerated. To hold on to that faith and use the strength and insight you gained from that, from your life lessons and the poverty and crime you saw, and to make it something genuine and to inspire others is beyond powerful.
Yes, sir.
And you were content with that. I'm sure right now, because you're young. How old are you again?
I'm 27 years old,
So
man.
I'm sure you still getting calls from teams, right?
I'm getting hella calls from teams. They want me to play, but I make so much money going around telling my story. It's like I have became a brand. I have became a business. And that's what you want ultimately out the foot. Basically, I'm just doing, like, if I would have had a 15-year NFL career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, after you get out of the NFL, you still got to find what your – see, the NFL ain't nothing but a platform.
Yeah.
So you can, like, later on you can have, so to do what you really want to do. But the question is, what do you really want to do? What's your passion? Because I done seen a lot of guys that when they leave the league, I got clients now that they done leave the league, they done left the league, and they want to kill themselves because people asking them, oh, man, you ain't playing ball no more? Oh, man, what's going on, man? I thought you were going to be good and all that. So it's a crime for me to go get a job. It's a crime for me to go work at Wendy's to keep the bankroll going. It's a crime. It's a crime for me to come out in regular society and be a regular person. Because when you got this helmet on, they think you just this Superman person, like, that don't do nothing. And then when they see you tie your shoes, they like, he tie his shoes like we do? No. You know, so you gotta get, I want, my goal is to help athletes get comfortable But don't worry about what nobody say about you, dog. You know, like my pride will never get in the way of my hustle. If I got to go scrub toilets to run it back up, that's what I'm going to do. Don't ever let your pride get in the way of your hustle, baby.
For sure.
And that's the message that I'm sending, man. Tough times don't last, tough people do. You know, I thank God that I didn't lose my mind. I thank God that I didn't commit suicide and all of that. Because all of this happened and y'all don't know why it's happening. And some of the coaches is just worried about football, but nobody never asks you how you doing mentally. I guarantee you, ain't nobody ever asked Antonio Brown how he doing mentally. Everybody just worried about 84 catching touchdowns. They never ask you how you doing mentally.
Yeah. Well, look, Mike, let me ask you this, man, as we wrap up. This has been one of my best shows. How can people that watch this, that maybe want to invite you to their church or to the community rec center or whatever to come speak, or how can they keep up with your involvements in the community and speaking engagements and presentations? What platforms and things can they do to check for you, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, email, contact information?
All my social media platforms is at Coach Mike Savage. All my social media platforms at Coach Mike Savage. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Coach Mike Savage. And if they inbox me, I will give them my number. Not no community phone line number. You know, that they giving that the celebrities or whatever they so-called themselves giving out now, calling themselves helping people. I will give you my real phone number. If you want to, you know, have a session with me or anything like that, or, you know, just inbox me. I give you my email, MikeSavage1156@yahoo.com. Hit me up, man. I'm excited about touching my community, and I'm gonna get as many people on board as I can. I got a vision of having a building one day that's gonna be for mental, social, and physical health. And the building is gonna be designed a lecture hall, a ballroom for social, and a physical fitness, a 24-hour physical fitness room. That's what I'm working on now.
And I'm excited for you, and I'm excited that I was able to connect with you a few weeks ago. You've been a blessing to me. Our conversations, your overcoming adversity and trauma is inspiring not only to me, but to people that will hear and see this interview. I'm thankful for what you're doing for our community. I'm thankful that you're able to survive what you saw growing up in the 757. And I respect you for looking beyond the field and going out there in the world and finding your true purpose, your true calling, and your passion, and not just being just another guy who plays ball. That's very inspiring, you know? So thank you, Mike, for a great show. I salute you. I know this is not the last time we're going to build together. I'm sure there's going to be some future events once COVID passed that we're going to link up on.
Hey, Vicktory Life, baby. Leave a legacy.
That's right.
Go get yours. Stop playing.
Right. Hey, I appreciate the support for real, but I can't thank you enough, man. And I speak for the people that know you already, man. You're a great man, and you got great things coming. So, like I always say every show, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, make sure you leave a positive impact and a great legacy, man. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the show.
Yes, sir.